Hello friends and welcome to the Underwater Cafe. I don't even know how that will work, but I'm Louis back with another video. When I heard about watercolor pencils, I know I had to get some of these, so in this video I'm just going to test them out, make a drawing with them, and just give my opinion about these. Apparently this set comes in 24 pencils and a real hair paintbrush. We're just going to look at them right in a moment. And here they are. Okay. These are actually really pretty. Here are some close-ups for my stationery obsessed people who like to admire the detail. This is the paintbrush. It is really smooth and it doesn't look bad quality either. So that's a really good sign. First of all, I wanted to see how these colors look like on paper because they might look different from what they show us. Alright, so my first observation is that this color right here does not match with the pigment at all, and this is the color. But they don't match at all, they're like totally different shades. And if you've never heard of watercolor pencils, I'm going to explain real quick. They're basically just normal colored pencils, but once they make contact with water and once you stroke them with a paintbrush, they dilute and so they behave like watercolors, as I show right now. This is normal printer paper, so of course it's not going to work the best. But this is why I'm going to do this video on 3 different types of paper. This one is sketchbook paper and it should work a bit better than printer paper. And you can see that the colors are a bit more saturated. And finally, the third type of paper we're going to be using is special watercolor paper. And I've noticed that the higher the quality of the paper is, the less grainy effect it has and the more saturated the colors are, but also they dilute much easier on watercolor and sketchbook paper. Here's the comparison for you to look at it. Then I started doing some blending, first with 2 different shades of blue and then between 2 different colors at all, in our example blue and green, and in both cases the blending was really good. You can see it right now. I also tried using the white pencil they gave us, but that did absolutely nothing. It really makes it completely useless in my case. And of course, to form an actual opinion, I have to actually draw something with it. So I took this girl from my sketchbook and just traced a line art digitally and also fixing some proportions, and I came up with these. This one is traced because my printer can only print A4. Without further ado, let's go! After I effortlessly opened the box, it was time to start the drawing part of this review. And my goal was to make the exact same drawing on 3 different types of paper, just to see the comparison between them if you were to actually draw something instead of just swatching. And let me tell you, it was really tiring and I got really bored after a while. Making the same drawing 3 times in a row, it's pretty hard. And this is why this video took so long to get here on YouTube. It's here, it's all that matters. And right now I'm starting with the printer paper and I'm making this girl, giving her some stars and some space buns. And right now everything is just basic drawing on printer paper. This is where it gets a bit complicated. I did a background and I decided to start with it because I was scared I would ruin the girl. The process was really good, even though the paper got really wrinkly. This is why I wouldn't recommend painting it on printer paper and only using them as normal colored pencils if you want to. On the video you can see that I'm starting the second girl, but now that we're on the topic of colored pencils, let me tell you something. These are actually really great colored pencils for beginners and for people who just want to start art, or for people that are on a budget, because they are a lot more saturated than normal colored pencils because they're watercolor, but they're also really cheap, so they are not as expensive as like artist quality colored pencils, but they are really saturated and you can do some really nice shading with them, as you can see right here. And another thing you probably noticed is that since this is traced, like I said before, I did my online art, and that's really nice. That's a really good thing because I really wanted to see how these pencils and how the water itself would react to fine liners. Because I don't remember them being waterproof fine liners, but they worked really well. So either I might be wrong and they actually are waterproof, or the watercolor pencils just work well with them. But still, it's a really nice thing. And the first thing I notice when I go with the watercolor itself, it blends in a lot more, and as I said before, it dilutes easier, but this can be used either as an advantage or a disadvantage, because here with the face and with the eyes it was really good because everything will look much smoother and the skin looks much smoother. But on the hair I honestly prefer the printer paper version because you could still see the details pretty well, but now they are kind of like blurred out a bit and diluted. So yeah, I didn't really like that, but now I know how to use them, so that's good. And also, I mentioned saturation a bit earlier, but this time you can really see it, especially in her skin, because the first girl was pale and this one is a bit darker, even though I used the same color, or should I say the same combination of color. I started the third girl, the one on the highest quality paper, but I want to talk a bit about that color combination I talked about just now. The thing is, in this set there was no pale skin color. Now, normally that would be a really minor thing and a really minor problem because you can draw dark skinned people and you can borrow a light skinned pencil from another set of colors, you know? But this time I was provoked by the package itself because it shows that drawing of a kid under seas, but the kid is light skinned, so that means that you have a way to make light skin, you know, and I had to find that way quick, or else I would have been fooled and tricked and bamboozled. And I did. I basically layered pink and orange on top of it and just let water do its business. And for shading, I pressed down a bit of orange and that did its business really nice. And after I finished the video, I discovered another technique that you can make that seems pretty, which is to layer the colors and the shading, then apply water, let it dry, and then apply like the details on the hair that I talked about earlier, and you won't have the blurred out effects. So yeah, it would have been better if I knew this while I was filming, but that's okay too. I tried to keep the same color scheme and the same color combination for all of three drawings so you can get a clear comparison only between the paper textures. And I used this light blue for the highlights of the hair, which I absolutely love because I think it looks so good and it really matches with the blue strands of hair that she has. When I look back at it, I could have worked a bit more on the blush to make it look smoother and on the shading of the sticker that she has on the cheek. And also pay a bit more attention to her other accessories like the choker and the earrings because I really rushed on that part, but after all, I did the exact same drawing 3 times in a row and I was getting really bored. So it's kind of understandable, but I really wish I could have got more time to finish everything exactly how I wanted, but that wasn't possible because I hadn't posted anything in a month. Time wasn't by my side. And after adding those juicy highlights that everyone likes, I was done. And finally, the end, the conclusion of this video. It's a good conclusion. I actually had a lot of fun with these, even though I had to repeat the same drawing over and over and over. I absolutely love that even though I tried to make the exact same drawings, they all had a different vibe. It really makes them unique and stand out. Here is how I feel about every aspect of this art supply. You can pause to read if you want to.
And don't dip the pencils in water.
And the watercolor pencils get a final, well-deserved rating of 4 out of 5 stars on cheeks. It's not perfect. We still have yet to find the perfect art supply, but for now, thank you for watching this video. Please consider subscribing, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye!